everything feels right of where I am in this journey. And it wasn't just done on my own. There's ancestral guidance that definitely played a huge role in this journey. Here we go. A journey spanning 5 years in Hawaii through Kanaka Maoli has finally come to life through storytelling, or shall I say, story weaving, through the project titled Living Like a Hawaiian. But before I dive deep into living like a Hawaiian, why living like a? Well, that answer goes way back to 2018 in the Kingdom of Tonga, particularly in the island of Vava'u, home to my very first true deep culturally immersive experience with Pacific Islanders, and in this case, everyday Tongans. The one thing I'll never forget to this day is when my host asked me on my first day of settling into his place, "Anthony, what would you like to do?" And I answered, "I want to live like you. I want to live like a Tongan." Hence birthed the name of my first culturally immersive project titled Living Like a Tongan. You're gonna show me the ways of a Palauan going fishing, yeah? Fast forward 4 years later to the islands of Palau. Now before I went to Palau, I told myself if I was to immerse deeply into everyday Palauans, I would intentionally create a project called Living Like a Palauan, inspired by living like a Tongan. And 3 months after I left Palau, I put together a 28-minute long culturally immersive project called Living Like a Palauan, where living like a Hawaiian gets its direct inspiration from, through framework, structure, and storytelling. Embodying traditions, way of life, language, and most importantly, storytelling. But one thing I have to make known about every Living Like a project I've ever made is that there's no script, there's no structure, there's no format that I have to go by, there's no schedule with people. It's actually all very open-ended, unplanned, reflecting a true raw experience of just simply going with the flow, trusting the process, and allowing myself to naturally meet people from these islands, getting to know the deeper intricacies of a destination. Through who? Through its people. Now, what makes living like a Hawaiian so unique and different from my previous projects, and why will it always be unique and different to any future living like a projects? Well, that's because Hawaii and my experience through Kanaka is very personal and dear to me. Because it's not only 5 years of cultural immersion through Native Hawaiians, it was my time through Kanaka Maoli that showed me the way and how to be truly respectful, with humility, respect, aloha, and most importantly, in a pono way. Living like a Hawaiian is centered around 3 main themes. The passing of ike, knowledge through generations, some of which I've been a part of, and allowing this project to serve as a means to pass this knowledge back to Kanaka Maoli, especially the next generation. Aloha Aina, which is a mindset and values that is central to Hawaiian culture and its people. And last but not least, the simple message through visuals of how to leave a place better than you found it. The greater umbrella of this story is showcasing my journey through Native Hawaiians, but this is very much a story through Native Hawaiians, shared through my experiences.
What I appreciate about you is that you are not taking our voice,
but told by them.
You're sharing our narrative in our voice. and with our mana'o.
E mana I roko tātou e rero pūketahi.
Living Like a Hawaiian is different from my previous projects because I can confidently say that it is a documentary style project with a sprinkle of film aesthetic with a runtime of 1 hour and 43 minutes. Now people ask me many times, if it's so long, why not break it down? Living Like a Hawaiian is actually in 2 parts, but in one singular project. A part 1 showcasing the beautiful culture of Kanaka Maoli, the ahupua'a, hula, olelo Hawaii. And part 2, which shows the heartbreaking, sad reality that Kanaka face on these islands just to be Hawaiian. Now, had I broken down Living Like a Hawaiian into smaller chunks, I would be doing a disservice to the emotional connection and the character building that is entailed through Kanaka Maoli and their beloved culture, seeing the devastating effects that modernization has had on the culture and its people. But one thing I have to double up on saying, and I explain in this project, that no matter what people say about Hawaii and its people being American, no. Kanaka Maoli are Pacific Islanders, which is why I want to particularly acknowledge this is very much a one ocean, one people project. A beautiful initiative I have started through my documentation across the Pacific Islands. The Pacific Ocean is not a divider, but a uniter of people, and Kanaka Maoli very much belong in this initiative. At the time of recording, it's only 1 day from publication of Living Like a Hawaiian, and 2 days shy of my flight to American Samoa, beginning a trip around the Pacific Islands once again. It was the Hawaiians that I'll always show my utmost gratitude to, who have ultimately prepared me for my onward trip around Oceania, not just as a respectful traveler, but as a Hawaiian by heart. Now, coming back to the project that is Living Like a Hawaiian, it has been a very difficult journey. A lot of my journey through Kanaka, with Kanaka, were all things I've done for the first time. That's especially so with building Living Like a Hawaiian. Story weaving over 20 different interviews, the first time I've done interviews in another language.
Malaki, kaue
I've had setbacks, I've had delays, I personally had doubts. I've cried, I've broken down, I even had panic attacks. Not just because of how challenging this journey, putting this together was, but because the story is painful also.
It's just this never-ending struggle to keep what we have preserved in any way possible.
As I said before, I have never done anything like this before. And along this journey, I am not gonna lie, I considered giving up. But you see, I've always had a vision for Living Like a Hawaiian. Not just for the sake of putting together a project. Not just so much to share my journey through Native Hawaiians, but to fulfill one of 2 intentions for Native Hawaiians. The first being, I've always wanted to meet Native Hawaiians. And the second being, if I was going to immerse with Native Hawaiians, because of how much they gave to me, I always wanted to give back. Living Like a Hawaiian is just that way, to give back.
Ohi poe kanaka, oi hoi.